Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video, and it is finally time to do the updated tier list. Now, I was going to record this like a week and a half ago when I thought that we were only going to get the Frey and Millen banner, because I wasn't entirely sure what the 1.5 anime was going to bring, if it was going to start a new meta halfway through, or if it was going to add to. But thankfully, I held off just in case, and that was a good thing because obviously we have now Shizu and the hero who are part of the fantasy team, so we have to rank them properly as well. So we are here to do Milim, Shizu, and Hero. Gabiru I accidentally put on here, and there's actually no way to remove him from a tier list unless I redo the entire thing and make a whole new tier list. I really wish they would fix that, just let me remove an asset. But he is actually over here on the free-to-play unit list, and then we also have the two protectors, because we also got Protector Octogram Rimuru. So I think that we should start off here on the protector side, and there is a little bit of movement to do here. Sadly, my girl Shizu needs to be dropped down to A tier. Her 6 and 6 orb changing is very good. The pierce, the stacking, pierce rate it was good for the time. Nowadays, now that we have, Guy who's 3 and 3 changing to 6 greens and giving alt gauge, and now we have Frey who's doing 3 and 3 and then giving 40 points, it's now overshadowed the power of Shizu. So I'm going to drop her down to A tier. She's still a good protector, but she's just not quite it anymore. Other than that, I mean, Guy should probably move up into S tier because he is giving alt gauge, and obviously with EX alts now a thing, his 35% alt gauge alongside everything else is very, very strong. I'm going to drop Hakuro down since Toa is just the better version of Hakuro. Still also very, very good. He essentially is Toa. He just doesn't give as many skill points on oranges that Toa does, which is not the biggest downside in the world, but we already have Toa up here, so I think it's only right to move him down. Other than that, I'm pretty confident in the current rankings right here. So let's start off with sad Protector Octogram Rimuru. We've been waiting for him for over a year now, and he finally comes out, and he is like a half-assed stacking character with a half-assed healing built in and half-assed everything else, and it's just he's really not what we were looking for. He can definitely help out a new player, but in the amount of time it takes to obtain 150 Octogram emblems to buy him, you will most likely have a better protector than him, because that takes 2 months, maybe 2.5 to get him. And you should be summoning on high-quality banners, and you're going to get a protector that's most likely better than him. So he still does have usage. It's just highly, highly limited. So I'm going to put him in the C tier. He's not as good as Kabi, Ramers, Gabiru, even Chloe, and he has no place being anywhere. There's no conversation of even being above that. Is he worse than C tier? I could hear arguments that, technically the Golem has more usage than him right now because we keep getting a whole bunch of counterattack missions. Veldora could be useful since he's increasing cap, giving skill points, and permanent alt buff. But I think C tier is a safe spot for now. And then Frey is she. What are we going to do about it? Physical characters getting crits automatically, 3 and 3 orb changing, and 40 skill points, so she's just the green version of Toa almost, except with a better third part of her passive. She is quite good, and I don't really hear any arguments on putting her lower, and if you do try and argue it, I'm just going to ignore you. So, Rimuru C, Frey S tier. Let's move on to the free-to-play units. I don't really have much to move here. Maybe moving Shinsha down actually might be a thing. She is fine on her specific team, but she definitely has... There's people that give better light buffs. There are other single target or single orb changers than her. So I think B tier now is a good place for her. Sufia is still very good with her orange orb changing and the charm. Misery, healing, and giving that green buff is good. And these top three, I don't really feel like moving. First off is Protector Soe. So last month I made a column just for free-to-play protectors because we had never gotten a free-to-play protector before. So we changed this from free-to-play protector to F tier, which Chloe doesn't belong in the F tier. She's gonna move up to probably like C tier protector, and we're gonna move Albus down because sad Albus is very sad. But she's not alone. She's she's joined by Soe. So she's very old. She's over a year old. I didn't expect much from her to begin with when she first came out. Soe, you know, Chloe is serviceable, right? You can do some stacks with her. She can help you do a few things in long events. She's not the greatest at it, but you know, obviously she's a free-to-play 4-star protector. Soe is a double orb changer that you already have from Isis, and then an 80% chance to crit, which during my showcase for him, we didn't hit it like 3 times or something on the alt when we would need the crit. So it's not guaranteed. His orb changing is hilariously dumb, and he's just not a good character. I don't know who he would help in this meta right now, but I mean, he was supposed to help Milim, but I tried to use him with Milim and it didn't work. So sad Soe. Gabiru now is an interesting character because he gives the 20% alt gauge to his team and also has that single orb change, which makes him extremely limited, right? You're not going to put this Gabiru, even if you're not running the full fantasy team, if you want to put like Milim on some other team, cool. You're not going to bring Gabiru along with him, though. You're just not. He has 1 orb change, fine, whatever. And then his 20% alt gauge, like, you can just drop Isis in there and call it good, because her 50% green buff is going to be more than his 20% on the alt gauge just by itself. So it's like, yeah, he also has crit resistance down on that skill. Whoop-de-doo. I'm going to put a different support unit on that team instead. So he's really not that good. He only helps specific units. His second skill is pretty meh. So C tier for Gabiru as well. So far with the new EX units, their free-to-play units are not quite as high as some of the older ones. So that's it. You might be able to argue him up into B tier, but I really don't see it. Soe, you can't argue. Like, all you do is laugh when you try and use him, and it's like the ha kind of laughing. So let's move on now to the battle unit tier list, the summonable battle unit tier list, and we have one major change to make. We have a few others to make, but we have like one truly big change to make, and that is Octogram Guy. The heavens have shone down upon him, and I said when he first came out and I first put him on the tier list that if more content becomes stunnable, he will rise in this tier list. And so for the past 3 months, we have seen content come where things have now been able to be stunned. And he has definitely proven his worth on those difficult stages for Inferno, with maybe you don't have the full EX team. You can just stun his ass forever and ever and ever until you just whittle him down by attrition. So, Guy stocks. Alright, so predictions down below before we actually rank him. Where do you think I'm going to put Guy? I'll give you 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I'm going to put him up in the S tier, alright? I'm going to put him up in the S tier. Now that content has become stunnable, with his very cheap 15 point, is it 25? It might be 25, but still. I can't remember. What is it? I don't have it open. It's still a very, very low-cost guaranteed stun, and since you can now stun many, many things, the hard content that's coming out, he is now a viable unit. His second skill is still kind of meh. It's a triple orb change from... Actually, let's look it up. Where's the wiki? Fire. Octogram Guy. So it's It's 3 green to 3 orange. So, I mean, there's not too many orange-focused teams right now. I mean, there's Toa, yeah, cool, but, you know, I don't really think we're going to put him on the Toa team. But his stun is 25 points. And if you combine that with maybe the reset skill cost from Veldora, like we did for this current beatdown battle, I mean, he can make your life a whole lot easier from going from, no, I can't clear it, why are you even giving me this video, to, actually, Guy helped me a lot. He actually helped me kill Inferno 1 or 2, or even maybe 3. So, his stock's now quite high, and now he is in his rightful place as a guaranteed low-cost stunning unit. Alongside that, Raphael is already in S tier. Since Raphael also stuns, also gives the pierce and everything, I am willing to put him up into godly tier, also being a nuker with the stun and the pierce and the alt resistance down. So he's good support, he's good DPS, he is good at stunning. His stun does cost quite a bit more than Guy, but he does bring a bit more to the table. So let's move him up. And then I think we're good as far as old units are concerned. We know that the skill revamp is coming. We kind of already know what old Fire Guide is and what old Water Raphael down here does. So, and we also know that the Octogram units are getting a skill revamp as well. So, this tier list next month could be wildly different because we'd have to re-rank everybody. But for now, this is where the old characters are going to sit. So let's rank the new characters minus this Gabiru. Let's start with Shizu. One of the 1.5 anniversary units to come out. She has a single orb change, which is pretty meh, and then her stacking attack power for Fount of Wisdom or Fantasy units, which is good for, you know, this EX Nada up here, or EX Milim. So she can support them very well. And she doesn't have to be on a dedicated team. You can put them both together and they would run fairly well on a green-focused team, since Milim has the blue covered, Shizu has the orange covered. It's just that she's limited. She must be attached to another fantasy character, unless you're going to make her the DPS, which outside of, I would say, Jubilee, it's really not a thing. So that does lower her usage down a bit, unfortunately. So I'm going to move her into... do we go B tier? Her orb change is nothing to write home about. Again, she has to be on a very specific team or with very specific units to even have usage of her second skill. I think B tier. I think B tier. Definitely not a necessary character. She can support, right? All these units in B tier can give decent support on the right team. But apart from that, as a more generalized character, she's almost useless. Almost useless. So that's where I'm going to put her for now. You can argue with me all you want. Moving on to the hero, she does have generalized use. You know, she has the alt swap kind of skill, which is the first time we've seen that, of taking an alt away and making it a green orb. She also has the massive debuff skill, so 50% elemental resistance down across the board, and then 50% all orb damage. So she is very, very good for a supporting unit. I'm going to move her into A tier. Again, probably not the most necessary unit, but she can definitely help you out. It's just that, you know, we have the old hero, who is still untouchable, really. Maybe I should make a new tier for just the hero. But, you know, Rewind, still the most powerful skill in the game. And then now that crits are coming a thing again, because this meta was based on crits, she's actually useful. Even though Frey was already giving crits, it's to physical characters, but Hero is going to give that to everybody, and the resistance down. So it's like trying to compare that skill set with this skill set, and I don't really think there's an argument. Maybe you could put her up into S tier, but I don't really think so. I'm going to do my Valor Cup video probably, or at least record it tomorrow using both heroes together in Valor, and we'll see how that goes. But for now, I think a solid A tier, maybe A+, is good for Hero 2.0. Which then brings us to Milim. So she's essentially the crit version of Light Shion, who, as you can see, is in the godly tier. She's not moving because now that she's been introduced to the fantasy team, it brings her back into relevancy even more now. And her skill set was pretty good. Pierce is not the strongest thing in the world, but stacking Pierce power, plus an attack buff, plus her orb change, it was pretty good. So Milim is almost the same thing with her own attack buff, stacking crit damage, which is a much better multiplier than Pierce, and then she also has a single orb change for the other color, for blues, right? And her blue orb change does give permanent damage to greens, unlike Shion gives extra skill points. So I think it's pretty safe to say that Milim belongs up here. And she's got the EX ult, she can do a lot of damage, so I do like Milim up in the godly tier. So that is the current rankings for this month. We have the next meta incoming on the 27th of April. They have a live stream for that. We'll see what the next meta is, who the next characters are, because we know that is still part of the 1.5 anniversary, and we know that we will get more information on the skill revamp at that time. So here's the tier list for this month. Next month when we do it, probably going to look quite a bit different. But let me know what you guys think of my new placement of Octogram Guy, because I know he was the biggest outlier for the past couple of months, because I just didn't want to move him up until I was for certain that we were going to get more stonable content. But now, 3 months in a row, that's a pretty good sample size. So that's it from me, guys. Take it easy, and I'll see you later.